So Kiko Milano came out with their new Beauty Roar limited edition collection, and I picked up a few things. I picked up the things that I thought were the most interesting, the most exciting. So let's get into it. So once again, we have a new collection. They didn't do a collection last month, but this one is kind of an interesting one. I'm kind of thinking, what is their vision? What is going on? The most exciting thing, I think, the thing that most people are gonna look at, that most people are gonna buy, is gonna be that they have done another Charlotte Tilbury Beauty Light One kind of tube, which we'll get into. I think that's kind of like what this collection is built around. I don't really know what they mean by this theme, Beauty Roar, but we're just gonna dive into it. We're just gonna see. So with this collection, they really went with this kind of like tan, orangey, like soft orange, cognac kind of shade. They use this a lot in the packaging, but also kind of like this lightish cream beige shade. This is the packaging of the Flawless Look face palette that I got, and the face palette is kind of like small, compact. It has the orangey shade on the front and the more beigey cream shade on the back. We have two colorways. I got the lightest one. We have a blush in here, we have a highlighter in here, and we have a powder bronzer in here. These feel pretty nice and creamy. I already swatched it as I'm filming this part of the video, and I really want to see what this is about because it's a pretty compact palette, and I usually really like the Kiko Milano cheek products, so this can be really nice for like travel and stuff. Then we also have the Beauty Roar pH Matte Liquid Lip Color, and this is supposed to change color according to your lips. The girl that helped me in the store was like, nah, they're not really gonna change, but the actual Kiko Milano website says they are gonna change according to your lip color. But it's a bit like interesting because this has really a lot of pigment on its own. It seems like a really pigmented liquid matte liquid lipstick, so I don't really see it changing a lot of color. I don't really see that happening, but we're gonna try it out on the lips and see if it looks different at the start than at the end after I've worn it for a little bit. The shade I got is a 03 Delicate Pink. Then they also had eyeshadow palettes. They had so many more things than I decided to pick up. They had eyeshadow palettes. I didn't feel it. Like, I didn't feel the vibes. I didn't feel the colors. Like, they each had one sparkly shade in there, but I feel like one sparkly shade doesn't really, for me, make up for really soft mattes and satins. I didn't really feel like I personally needed more of that in my life, so I got the metallic liquid eyeshadow in shade 03 Upbeat Shell. So I was kind of swatching these liquid eyeshadows, and this one kind of looked like liquid metal, and that really piqued my interest. I have tried a liquid eyeshadow from Kiko once before. I wasn't too excited about it, but this one looked really nice, so we're gonna try the one out as well. It's really like this interesting rose gold bronzy shade. And then I feel like the star of the show, I hope the star of the show, is the Beauty Roar 2-in-1 cushion bronzer and contour in the tan orangey packaging. So we have two shades of this, and this is in the kind of like Charlotte Tilbury dupe cushiony packaging, which we have seen a lot from a lot of brands. Like, a lot of brands have come out with this. I have to say, I just swatched it and the swatch didn't seem too pigmented. I'm kind of thinking, should I have bought the deepest shade? But I feel like we only have shades for the lightest of light because I'm not that deep, I'm not that tan, especially not right now. So the formula seemed a little bit watery when I first watched it, but we're gonna try it on the face and see how I like it. But when I kind of started to blend it out, it disappeared. So we're gonna see if it's really gonna be like the star of the show, if it's really gonna be worth it. And that's actually everything that I bought. I bought 4 things, and we're just gonna go into the look. We're just gonna try them out. Alright, so I zoomed you in a little bit. The lighting is a little bit weird. Sun is changing the whole time, like going behind the clouds and reappearing. Yeah, we're just gonna have to live with it for now. I think I'm gonna start out with the liquid eyeshadow. I'm just gonna apply this liquid eyeshadow and just see how I feel about it. Let's see what I'm gonna use. I think I'm gonna grab the Singe Beauty E04, which is kind of like this fluffy brush but still like flat. I feel like I can blend out the edges without moving it too much with this, so I'm gonna try that. So it's gonna also be a little bit of a Singe Beauty demo. I haven't filmed anything with this yet. By the way, I'm already wearing eye primer. So I don't know how much is best. So we're just gonna start. And we're gonna see if this is actually gonna stay on, because I have really oily eyelids, so this is really a test. Okay, that blends out pretty easily, and I do like the way this looks. I'm just gonna apply a little bit more in the crease, and just gonna blend that out a little bit further. I actually basically never do one eyeshadow looks, but I thought this was my moment, my chance to do it. And just gonna blend out the edges. I feel like it's already drying down, so you can't wait too long. But I did get quite a good chance to blend it all out. I think that looks pretty nice. The question is if it's gonna last. But it blended out quite nicely. I feel like it's already like drying. Gonna do the same on the other eye. I feel like it's going quite well with this brush. I wouldn't take something too fluffy. I would like some precision with the pigment that this eyeshadow has. Alright, that was pretty quick and easy. I think it's a great eyeshadow for kind of this one and done look. Maybe it emphasized a little bit of texture on my lids, but nothing like too crazy. And it's totally dried down. It's like totally dry. It's not creamy anymore. So pretty good so far. So I applied a little bit of a shadow liner, just used a cool tone brown to add a little bit of dimension because it's only one shade, and I applied some mascara. Let's move on, and I think it's time, it's a bit of a weird order in which to do things, but I think it's time to apply the liquid lipstick because I want to see if it changes color. I want to see if this makes any sense. By the way, my lips are super dry, so this is gonna be the ultimate test if it's comfortable. Alright, so now the shade is kind of like a strawberry pink, kind of bright. And I'm just gonna see what happens when it dries down. Let's see if maybe it becomes darker. I can imagine if something happens, then that is what happens. Okay, I've had this on for like 5 minutes. It doesn't completely dry down, at least not yet. Do you feel like the color has changed? I don't know. Has it become lighter? It's hard to say. Okay, let's move on. I am gonna try the 2-in-1 Cushion Bronzer and Contour on one side, at least at first. So I'm gonna squeeze a little bit out. And let's see. I'm gonna apply quite a bit because I have a feeling about the pigmentation. And I'm gonna start blending it out, and it's kind of disappearing. Like not 100%, but it's definitely not too pigmented. Okay, so this is with the bronzer, this is without the bronzer. I do see a little bit, but it's not like the Charlotte Tilbury as far as I've seen. As far as I've seen people use it, because I don't have it myself. I do like the finish, and it dries down really easily. So that's good, but of course we want makeup to actually be visible. So I'm just gonna take a little more and just see how this layers. Okay, I feel like this is becoming a little bit more bronzy, a little bit more impactful. I'm really sorry about the weird lighting. I hope you can still see what I mean. I feel like it's kind of foolproof, like you can't really go wrong with it, but it's also like if you really want a really bronzed look, then maybe go a shade up and don't be too scared of how dark it might seem. I feel like built up, like with the second layer, I quite like it, but it's just subtle. It's quite subtle. Okay, so the thing with the face palette is that these pens, they are quite small, so I'm gonna see if I can pick up the bronzer with my brush. It's a bit difficult for sure. Alright, we're just gonna try the powder bronzer on the other side and see how I feel about it. I feel like this one is also pretty natural. The undertone is a bit warmer, but this also isn't a contour really. Yeah, it's a bronzer. It doesn't say contour, so it's a bit hard to load up the brush. But I'm just gonna add a little bit more. Yeah, I would say this is a light but quite warm bronzer. So if you really want something with a cool undertone, then this might not be your thing. I can see a very clear difference. You see how kind of yellow this looks and how cool toned this looks? I do like the finish. It's like this soft, matte, powdery, like skin-like finish, but it doesn't have a glow. Yeah, I quite like it. It has this kind of perfecting quality that a lot of Kiko powders have. I feel like this one didn't really perfect a lot. It's just very natural, but this one did. It kind of perfects the skin. But also this is my worst cheek. Like this side of my face is a problem side of my face. Well, I sleep on this side, but this is the problem. Okay, let's move on to the blush, and I'm just gonna take the same brush, but it's just hard to use. Kind of. I'm just taking a little bit of the highlighter as well. Okay, this blush is more pigmented. I don't mind a little bit more of a pigmented blush personally. It's not unusable for sure. It's just a little bit more in your face. Doing the same on the other side. I feel like it's more naturally blending in with the bronzer from the face palette because it's basically the same formula. It looks really nice on this side. This side also looks nice, but this side just looks airbrushed. Alright, and now for the highlighter. It's supposed to be a special formula. I don't know what that means. I don't know what they're trying to say with that. We're just gonna try it. Like sometimes I feel like they just say things. They don't even know themselves what it means. Just mixing the two colors together and let's see. Okay, this is a really nice highlighter. I feel like it's pretty much the trusty old Kiko highlighter formula that we see in a lot of their collections. I really like it. Nice and pigmented. It kind of blends in together to kind of a warmer champagne shade, which is not revolutionary, but it's quite nice. Feel like you can make it look a little bit deeper or lighter depending on where you place your brush. Just gonna blend it in a little bit. Alright, so we have the side with the liquid bronzer, a little bit more like natural, a little bit more cool toned, a little bit more subtle, and then we have the side with the powder bronzer, a little bit more warm, and it just looks more of this like velvety matte veil over the skin. Alright, I'm gonna finish my makeup. I basically only have to do my brows still. I always do that after my bronzer, and then we can kind of like round up and see what my thoughts are. So this is gonna be the finished look. Oh, now the sun is going down, so you can really see the cheeks, you can really see the highlighter, or down, it's going behind a cloud, but now you can really see the difference with that. Okay, let's talk about these products, because I have some mixed feelings. I'm a bit confused with this collection. It's not that it's bad, but I'm just a little bit confused. Okay, let's start with the most confusing product, which is definitely the liquid lipstick. Is this color changing in any way? I don't think so. I actually don't think so. I don't think a lot has happened. I have to watch back the footage, but it is not really like noticeable. If there is a difference, it's like slight. I do have to say it is a very comfortable liquid lipstick. It doesn't fully dry down. It's kind of like a satiny feel. I would say maybe it's a little bit comparable to Lunar Beauty, which is a good thing, which is really nice. But personally, I thought that the shade range was a little like interesting. You have to like the shades. You can check it out. Like for now, I feel like it's a pretty nice formula, and I feel like I could come to quite enjoy this liquid lipstick. It's just a bit like, why? Why is it pH? What is happening? Then the eyeshadow. I quite like it. I do feel like with the current state of my eyelids, it's not like 100% flattering, because I'm dealing with a little bit of dryness, eczema. I don't know if you could see it in a close-up shot. Just a little bit of dry patches. I've been dealing with this for a bit for the winter. Usually my eyelids get a bit dry while being very oily in the winter. It's really weird. But I also have like hay fever, and that doesn't really help. So I don't know 100%. I have to see how long it wears. I quite like it, but I don't know if I'm like fully blown away. For me personally, I would say it's pretty comparable to other liquid eyeshadows that I've tried from Kiko Milano. It's like it dries down completely, but it's just, be a bit careful if you have like wrinkly, dry, patchy eyelids. I don't know. Could be that your eyelids don't 100% vibe with this product. Then we have the face palette, which I think is actually kind of cute. Like, it's kind of hard to pick up the products, but like all of them worked really well. I think the whole cheek look, like this side is all done with this palette. I quite like it. It's just a bit hard to pick up, but it's also really easy to travel with. I enjoy it so far. I personally would have wanted this bronzer to be a little bit more on the cool side, but of course not every bronzer ever in a face palette can be a cool tone bronzer, so be aware that's a little bit on the warmer side, but I quite like this face palette so far. And then the last thing is the cushion bronzer. I have to try it out a little bit more. I don't feel like it is really blowing my mind, but the thing that I do like about it is that it's really easy to use and it is very buildable still. Like, it's not too pigmented, but it is buildable, and I really like the undertone. So I feel like I could see myself using this on more like quick out the door, easy makeup days, like more natural makeup. So I just have to try it out a little bit more. I feel like it's really up to you. Are you looking for something natural? Are you looking for something cool toned? Or can you use this information and buy the darker shade? That's also something you can do. And then that's gonna be everything for today's video. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like this video if you liked it, and don't forget to subscribe. And also let me know if you're picking up anything from this collection, and then I will see you in my next one. Bye bye!